All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Keto for Optimizing Your Nutrition webinar. We're just waiting for the last few people to get here. All right. Just a few tech points for anyone who's on. It looks like everyone is muted, but yes, please remain muted. And then if you have a question, go ahead and put that in the chat. Also at the end, we'll be able to go over any questions that anyone might have. And there will be a recording of this that we'll post so that you can watch it later if you need to, or refer people to it, of course. And if you want the slides, there's a lot of slides that go with what I'm going to be going over. Those will be available. Just email us info@nutritionalwellnesscenter.com and we will get those right out to you. All right, well, thank you for everyone who's in attendance. I'm really happy to be delivering this Keto for Optimizing Nutrition webinar. It is meant to help you use the ketogenic diet specifically for getting the nutrients you're supposed to get out of your food and out of the program that you're doing, and improving your ability to improve yourself. So let's get right into it. All right, so welcome. My name is Ryan Kimball, and as most of you know, I'm a ketogenic fasting health coach. And over the last year, I've had the pleasure of working with Sophie and the team here at Nutritional Wellness Center, and I've been helping clients achieve weight loss and health goals. The ketogenic diet is largely used for weight loss by many people, but there are so many other benefits that I wanted to start talking about them and helping people understand what they can get out of doing the program. All right, so today, the whole goal of this webinar is specifically to help you understand and even create or start to create a ketogenic program that will help you optimize your nutrition, improve your results from whatever you're currently doing, because most of you are probably working on something to improve your health, balance your hormones, and optimize your microbiome. Optimized nutrition is the key, and this is key to your health, fitness potential, and longevity. So you'll see in the next screen what we're actually going to be concentrating on is hormones. And I want to explain why that is, because this is very interesting and most people don't really look at it that way. But your hormones are what tell you what to basically absorb from the food that you're eating. So let's say, for example, you have a really nutritious diet, but your hormones are out of balance. Well, that alone will stop you from absorbing what you should be getting out of your food. So using the ketogenic diet, this is one of the most powerful ways to balance your hormones naturally, just using diet. And it's being used a lot more for this, especially for someone who has an imbalance that hasn't corrected for years. They'll get onto a ketogenic program, use the fasting lifestyle that goes with it, and be able to balance their hormones and start getting the nutrients they need, get healthier, and improve their overall well-being. So if you take a look at it, for example, your microbiome, they say it's made up of trillions of microbes, right? So it's a very large amount of microbes. And to alter it, you have to do a lot often. Whereas hormones, they run the entire show in the body. They tell the body what to do when, how you should feel, whether you're energetic or not, etc. And there's only about 50 of them. And only about 5 of them that we need to concentrate on in order to improve your ability to digest food and improve your overall nutrition response, you could say. So that's a lot less than trillions, and it gives you an idea of how powerful these hormones are when they're balanced correctly and used correctly. All right, so let's get right into it. So what are hormones? Hormones are glandular secretions that act as messengers that have a profound effect on your mental, physical, and emotional health. They play a major role in controlling your appetite, weight, and mood. Ideally, your body produces the precise amount of each hormone needed for various processes to keep you healthy. Now, that's ideally. It's not actually that common that is the state for a person. In fact, I've never known someone who that was the situation for them. Everything was just ideal. However, you can use a certain hormone, which we'll get into in just a second, to affect so many other hormones that you get kind of a reset. You get a balancing effect of all the other hormones. And it's really important to understand how to do this using a ketogenic diet, because then you'll get all the other health benefits from the keto lifestyle. You won't just improve your body composition or have some more energy or a little more mental clarity. You'll actually create long-term health improvements and improve your longevity and your health longevity, how long you're healthy for. So next thing I want to go is a little bit over how the hormones work. So as I said, the body secretes and circulates some 50 different hormones. They're produced by the glandular system, which is called the endocrine system. And these hormones, they enter the bloodstream and they circulate through the body, and they activate different processes necessary to life. And for our purposes, they activate whether or not you will be absorbing the nutrients you're eating, utilizing it effectively and correctly, or will it just, pass through and not necessarily give you the benefits that you're looking for. So key hormones related to optimal nutrition. So these are just the 4 that are very specifically related to this. It isn't all of them that could be interacting in the process of digestion or absorbing nutrients, but it is 4 that you can concentrate on. In fact, there's only 1 on here that we'll concentrate on that will affect the other 3, which in turn will affect everything else. So let's start. Insulin. Insulin regulates blood sugar and cellular nutrient absorption. So that's super important. So insulin is not only, most people think, well, if I have high insulin, it's because I had a lot of sugar and my insulin went up to handle the sugar. Yes, but that's like a very small part of insulin's job, so to speak. A larger aspect of it is telling the body when to absorb certain nutrients or shutting down the process. So this insulin hormone in kind of the hierarchy of hormones is right up towards the top. It's like number 3 as far as how many hormones it affects and regulates. And even the ones above it, it greatly affects and regulates. So insulin is the key that we will be working on and going over how to use the ketogenic diet for here. So the next one I wanted to bring up, very important, human growth hormone. You've probably heard of this. Most people, you just think of it, okay, obviously it is what it says it is. It helps with growth. It helps with improving the body's structure. And that's very true. Up to the age of about 30, you have a pretty high level of human growth hormone, but it tends to dip down after that and get to a sort of a low level where it's just maintaining, basically. And there's no known food, there's no known supplement or thing you can eat that improves human growth hormone, that makes you start producing more of it after you reach that age in your life. But important to us is that human growth hormone also improves protein utilization and nutrient absorption in the digestive tract. So your insulin tells you whether or not to absorb and whether or not to, use sugar for fat or for fuel. It's like the yes or no option. Human growth hormone compounds and allows you to utilize at a whole new level and for certain purposes, the nutrients in specifically proteins that you're eating so that you can then build the body up. And there is a way to actually increase your human growth hormone by up to 1,300%. And I'm going to be going over that after we get through the hormone section in this talk. So there's 2 other hormones I just wanted to mention that are greatly influenced by the first 2 here, and that's leptin and ghrelin. So leptin tells your body it is satiated. So it says, okay, good, you've had enough food and you can stop eating now. And it gives you signals. You'll no longer be hungry, or you'll be less hungry and you won't feel you need to eat or not anymore. And then ghrelin tells your body it needs nutrients. Now, I just wanted to make a delineation. It's often said that it's telling your body whether it's hungry or not. It would be more accurate to say that these 2 hormones tell your body whether it's nourished or not, whether it has the nutrients it needs to function and do all the things it needs to do and remain healthy. So that's why it's so important to have a nutrient dense diet, but then also have insulin at the right levels and human growth hormone at a high level so that you're getting all the nutrients you need from your food. What can happen is you can be eating, and because your insulin's too high, and it's very easy to have high insulin even on a very healthy diet, just by not having your carbohydrate intake correctly lined up. It's very easy to have low human growth hormone because it just tends to go low as we age. So handling those two will tell your body whether or not it's got the nutrients it needs. And leptin will not turn off, so to speak, until it feels you have the nutrients you need. So you can eat a large volume and you'll still be hungry. That's why we have this empty calories concept. It's very hard to become satiated when you're eating a poor or low quality diet, basically. Okay, I just want to make that distinction. And let's go into this a little more. So hormones and nutrition. An imbalance of hormones leads to malnutrition from a failure to absorb and utilize nutrients the body is ingesting. In other words, even if you eat right, you might not be getting the nutrients you need. Right, we just went over that in some detail. So the key is insulin. So insulin resistance. Now, insulin is a hormone that lowers sugar in the body. And as we know, it also allows the body to absorb nutrients. It acts as a sort of key within your cells. And when your cells start to resist that key, it resists being able to absorb nutrients and absorb energy that it can turn into energy for the body. So we get a situation of insulin resistance. And what happens is the liver and all of our cells are no longer absorbing insulin and no longer utilizing it effectively. All right, just gonna let another person in here. Okay, great. So when your body is no longer responding to insulin, it creates a host of health issues. And in fact, there are probably not a health issue you could bring up that wouldn't have a correlation to insulin resistance somewhere along the line. So just to give a quick recap for those who just entered, we're basically going over how the ketogenic diet can be used to regulate and balance hormones, which are the body secretions that are running the show. More than anything else, if your hormone balance is out, you will find yourself not absorbing food and being able to utilize it correctly. So continuing with insulin as the dominant hormone we want to work on. So healthy insulin response. So when insulin is low, the body responds well to it. It's an inverse ratio, right? So the higher insulin gets, the more resistive the cells in the liver specifically become to the insulin, because high levels of insulin are toxic. So what the body wants is a low level of insulin that it can use to, handle the different aspects, and it can balance other things according to it, other hormones in the body according to it. So high insulin is extremely harmful, and it has been found to contribute to heart disease, dementia, diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol, high cholesterol. So, and there are even more. Those are just some of the more significant or readily known factors that are, very easily handled by just lowering your insulin. To have healthy insulin response, you need to keep your insulin levels low. So this is where the ketogenic diet comes into play. Basically, any person who has a very low carb diet will have a lower insulin in their body. But that's not what ketogenic diet is all about. And it's just a bit of the ketogenic diet has become popular, and there's been some information out there about how it works and what it does, and it's not necessarily complete. So what ketogenic fasting and the ketogenic diet is really all about is becoming fat adapted and becoming able to use fat for fuel. It's not just about eating low carb. It's about training your body to have a certain hormone balance that allows it to utilize fat for fuel. And fat is more efficient than carbohydrates or protein for fuel. It is more acceptable by the body. The reason the body doesn't use fat as much as it uses carbs is because people eat so many carbs, and high carbs are toxic when they turn into glucose in the bloodstream, and they create high insulin, which is toxic to the body. So the body handles that overload of carbohydrates by burning them as fast as it possibly can or storing them as fat. And that's why we have the situation we have with people, having these various diseases, being overweight, etc. Now, the ketogenic diet done correctly trains the body to burn fat for fuel. This doesn't mean you have to be low carb all the time, but it actually trains the body to burn fat for fuel instead of carbs for fuel. So you'll switch back and forth as needed. You'll burn carbs when it's there and available, but you'll easily move back into burning fat, and you'll get the benefits of doing that. So ketogenic fasting is the most effective way to improve insulin response, bar none. So the concept I do want to get across, though, is the ketogenic fasting is very flexible. It's a lifestyle, and you don't just, abstain from carbs forever and never eat anything that, you enjoy, just to put it there. Some people, find food not very enjoyable if they're not eating some carbs here and there. So that's not what the ketogenic fasting lifestyle is in the way that I apply it. Yes, there are some people who always want to be in ketosis. That's what works for them. That's fine. It's not necessarily necessary to get the benefits we're talking about here. So while training your body to burn fat for fuel, you incorporate fasting. And that's what the ketogenic fasting is all about. Your body, when you fast, when you stop giving it food to eat, to use for fuel, automatically shifts to burning fat. However, if you're not fat adapted, if you're not ketogenically adapted, your body's not made the necessary changes it needs, which means new enzymes, new cellular machinery, new pathways for making energy. If those things aren't in place when you fast, it can cause stress on the body. So you kind of want to do them in tandem at the same time. You want to make sure you're incorporating fasting, and at the same time, you're getting into using the ketogenic macros, basically, where you have a higher fat content, fairly low carb, 20 to 30 grams would be a good place to start for carbohydrates, and then moderate protein, right? Usually about 20, 25% of your diet from protein. And the combination of doing the fasting with a ketogenic lifestyle sets up your body to get maximum nutrients from your food by increasing that insulin sensitivity and metabolic health. We won't go into what happens with your metabolism and metabolic health and everything, but it is pretty amazing what the correctly applied ketogenic fasting can do for your energy, and your ability to repair, and all of that. But what I would like to bring up a little bit more here is the insulin sensitivity and the ability to absorb food. So it's a multi-pronged approach, you could say. The ketogenic fasting lowers your insulin, which then makes your body more able to absorb nutrients because it's more sensitive and responsive to insulin. In addition, the fasting allows your body to be in a position to be ready to receive those nutrients. So you can do a fast and then break it with super nutrient dense foods or foods you're trying to get extra nutrients from. And by doing that, you will pull in those nutrients because you're breaking your fast with that nutrient specifically. So it's a very effective way for ramping up certain nutrients you want to get into your diet to get certain benefits, right? All right. So ketogenic fasting lifestyle has lots of options, and I mentioned that before. So these are just some of the insulin-friendly options that you can have in your diet. High fiber, unprocessed foods. So technically fiber is a carbohydrate, but after you become ketogenically adapted and you're able to process easily fat for fuel, you can raise those carbohydrates again and get a lot of high fiber veggies and other food sources in your diet. You can get up to 50, even 60 grams a day of carbohydrates and still remain in ketosis if you've become fully keto adapted and you have an exercise regimen in your life. Not an extraneous one, it could be just walking, but something that keeps you moving. So low carb veggies and leafy greens. Again, this is where you would get a lot of that high fiber, unprocessed food. Nuts and seeds, avocados, coconut oil, olive oil, ghee. And these are just a couple of the oils that people often use. There are definitely other healthy oils out there, but these are some of the best for the ketogenic diet. Wild caught fish, of course, especially your fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, any of these fish. You want a combination of fat and protein in the type of meats that you're eating. Grass-fed meats, again, try to get fatty meats when you're becoming keto adapted. later on, as you're using keto for other things, you can employ a leaner protein for certain results, body composition especially. But yes, these grass-fed meats and wild-caught fish are great sources of protein. And then organic pasture-raised eggs, of course, they're like the perfect food, the perfect keto food especially. Tons of vitamins, minerals, and fat-soluble vitamins as well. And then, of course, the protein to fat balance is about 50-50, which is pretty ideal for a keto protein. You want to have that high fat content with the protein. Of course, organic grass-fed raw cheeses. If you're going to do dairy, this is probably your best option. That and some sort of a kefir or low-carb kefir or yogurt is fine too. But as far as the dairy that's just dairy, grass-fed raw cheeses are by far the best, most keto-friendly. You get into the other types of dairy products and they have more lactose in them, the sugar in dairy, and they're not quite as keto-friendly. And then these are some of the drinks: apple cider vinegar, water, lemon water, and herbal teas. These are all great for the ketogenic fasting. They really help you get into that deep state of ketones in your bloodstream and being used by your body. Now, you can also have caffeine on a ketogenic diet, just to make that known, because some of us have to have our caffeine. So yes, coffee and caffeinated teas are fine if you don't overdo it, and try to just do it at the beginning of your day. It's not necessarily helpful in the process of producing ketones, but if you're already fat adapted and keto adapted, then it's usually not an issue, and it can actually enhance your state of ketosis if it's done correctly. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, probiotics. Yes, so of course, and in getting the keto diet able to allow you to absorb those nutrients, it's really important to use probiotics. And there's something about probiotics. I'm going to go over this, not on the slides, but you can ask more about that in the email if you want to get the slides, and I can respond to you on that. But probiotics are so important because they give your hormones in your body the tools to use the different substances and nutrients in your body. For example, there are certain probiotic factors in your gut that allow hormones to be utilized. So it is a symbiotic relationship wherein you may have the hormone there, but if you don't have enough probiotics, your body won't utilize the hormone, but you need the hormone to tell the body to utilize the probiotics. So you kind of got to do it all at the same time. Get those probiotics in. Whole food sources are usually the best, unless you have an aversion to digesting these, or there's something going on with your gut, in which case, you could work with us on adjusting that. But generally speaking, sauerkraut, beet kvass, low carb kefirs. So definitely look at that. A lot of kefirs are very high carb, a lot of sugar in there. But there are some nut kefirs and coconut kefirs that are very low carb. Low carb yogurt, and again, you can use nut yogurts. Actually, goat milk yogurt tends to be a little higher in fat and lower in sugars, the sugars that are in yogurts. So that's a good option. And then prebiotic veggies. So this is kind of built into the diet. It's not a probiotic technically, but it is one of the things that your probiotics eat. So we eat food, we get our nutrients from that, but there's part of our foods that is made up of fiber, and different types of fiber, that your probiotics, your gut microbiome, that's what they eat. That's how they build up. So when they say eat the rainbow, you're getting a whole range of prebiotic food basically for your probiotics, if that makes sense. So the idea is eat the probiotics with the veggies, and you'll have this ever expanding and healthy gut that is really balances out and adjusts to you. And it's an interesting thing, just as a note, everyone's gut microbiome is different. It's like a fingerprint. No two people have the same microbiome. That's why it's so important you test these things and work them out for yourself, because there may have been tests or things that work for other people, but your gut biome is very unique to yourself. And because it's unique to yourself, it will react to different foods and situations in different manners. So using this is very important. Probiotics, while doing a low carb diet, really gives you the ability to utilize and handle hormones and make sure insulin is working correctly in your body. Now, there is actually a protein called collagen, and it's sometimes referred to as type 3 collagen, but it is collagen that is contained in most bone broths that acts as a prebiotic for your gut. So little hack at the beginning of getting keto adapted, if you're trying to keep your carbohydrates low and you're trying to maybe not have as many veggies, or you're not able to have as many veggies, have some collagen, have it in a bone broth or have it in a shake or something. And part of what collagen does is it actually helps activate and repair the gut because of the proteins in there, but also it helps supply some of the microbiome with a sort of prebiotic quality and allows it to sustain itself and grow. And additionally to that, it also allows the body to create certain fatty acids in the gut that help with ketosis and help with gut health and repair. So you've heard a lot about collagen lately, probably, but this is just another thing that it's really good for. It's not just about, having nice skin and, feeling better and, having good protein. It also helps repair your gut. So all those other things are good, but this is another benefit, just something to think with, especially if you're trying to be low carb. Obviously, collagen doesn't have any carbohydrates in it. Okay, so I mentioned about giving you the secret to raising human growth hormone by 1,300%. Well, that's fasting. And you may have known that already, but fasting done correctly with a ketogenic diet will raise your human growth hormone by up to 1,300%. And this is an amazing factor in your health because it actually helps create protein synthesis, which is basically you have these parts of proteins, you have the amino acids in your body, and they get recombined and made into new parts for your body. So it has this amazing anti-aging factor, right? The other thing about fasting, of course, is that it improves insulin sensitivity and other metabolic markers, just meaning it makes your metabolism more efficient, basically. It makes you more able to take in the energy you're eating and use it for energy, not store it or not have it turn into a waste product. It helps reset your circadian rhythm. So this is helping also, again, with the hormone balance and healthier gut microbiome because you're getting the sleep you need. So that's super important. But the other really amazing thing about intermittent fasting and just fasting in general, so people usually start with intermittent. So, you move your meals closer and closer together until you're not eating for a 16-hour interval each day. Maybe you're only having 2 meals or maybe 3 just close together. But when you get into this 16 hours or greater amount of fasting, you start to enter something called autophagy. Autophagy is this amazing quality and ability your body has to basically detox and create all sorts of new states for the body, metabolically speaking. Autophagy was actually only discovered in 2015, and the person who discovered it got a Nobel laureate award for it. And he was then able to help people use that in their life. And one of the ways it was found to be most effective was through fasting. You create this state through fasting, not through some supplement or anything else. So, it's not something people can monetize, so it hasn't been made that well known, sorry to say. But autophagy is where the body is recycling these parts. It also is handling bacteria. It is also lowering your fungal load. So if you have some sort of like candida or other overload in your body, you can lower it greatly, or even totally not reverse, but rebalance basically your internal microbes and whatnot using autophagy, just using fasting. So just by changing your schedule, obviously you have to eat well, and doing it ketogenically speaking is how you get these benefits. But it's just something to really keep in mind that you can definitely get all these amazing benefits just by doing a ketogenic intermittent fasting lifestyle. And the reason you want it to be a lifestyle is you don't want to just do this once in a while and then, back off because you forced yourself to get into ketosis for 2 weeks or something. If you do it correctly, it is extremely sustainable, and it can be very enjoyable to eat this way. You have to find foods that work for you, and you have to get into a state where you're able to produce ketones easily from fat, using fat for fuel. And if you want more information on how that works, of course, you can reach out. I also have given other talks that are on the YouTube channel for Nutritional Wellness Center about kickstarting yourself into a keto program. But if you want to get the benefits of, increased nutrients and increased ability to absorb things, you want to use this ketogenic lifestyle with the fasting, and that's where you're going to get really amazing results. All right. Okay, so this is specifically for women only. So it's really such a different process for women due to the hormones that happen. And it's really important to know how to apply the ketogenic fasting for women. So women, of course, have a clinical cyclic nutritional requirement. In addition to balancing insulin and human growth hormone, it is key to supply different foods for their nutritional benefits at different times of the month. And this is true whether you're, having a cycle now or you're postmenopausal. You still need to supplement your diet with these foods that produce the hormones that are needed for the female body. So, and additionally, the week before your cycle, you should fast less. You should not fast for more than 13 to 15 hours the week before your cycle. So like a low level intermittent fasting or no fasting at all, right? And you also want to eat slightly higher carb before that week before your cycle starts, because you need a higher level of carbohydrates in your diet to produce the hormone called progesterone. So the two hormones that you basically eat for, estrogen and progesterone, are what you would be adding to the diet. So you'd be eating foods that complement and allow you to build up estrogen and at a certain period. And then again, you do that just before your cycle for the progesterone. And you can still get all the benefits by fasting around those time periods, basically, and using those times around there to do the fasting. In fact, fasting is best done when it's sporadic, when it's not on some regimen, because what happens is your body gets used to it and it readjusts and it readjusts. And then you're not getting the benefits you would get if you just kind of threw in a 24-hour fast here and there. So it's not detrimental to getting the results you want, by eating in this manner of, nutrition specifically for hormones, but you need to have those balances going on so that you get all the benefits you're going to have. And again, this is specifically just for women. You can definitely talk to me about how to do that and what foods to eat when. It's just a little beyond the scope of this talk, but include it in your email if you're interested in that, of course. So how to approach hormonal balance for optimal nutrition. So basically, like we've been saying, and this is just a summary, use a low carb, high fat diet to train your body to use fat for fuel. So this is just the training period. Later on, you're going to raise your carbohydrates a little bit. It's the training period. You go really low carb, 20 grams or so a day. And that gets you into being able to be keto adapted or fat adapted. And then start doing intermittent fasting. You can do this concurrently, or if you're like, well, I really need my 3 meals, then build into it. I've had some people after doing the ketogenic diet for a week come back and say, okay, I started fasting. I hope that's okay. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. It just kind of leads into fasting because you're getting more nutrients from your food, so you need less of it. And you're able to go longer periods without needing food because fat is always available on your body to use for fuel. And that's, not a statement of people having extra fat. It's actually in your body, there's only about 1,700 calories or less of carbohydrates available at any given time. Whereas even a very thin person who you would say they're completely not overweight has around 70,000 calories available in fat to burn. So you kind of get the idea. So start doing this intermittent fasting, currently becoming fat adapted or keto adapted. Start slowly with the fasting and build up as your body gets used to it. If you start experiencing symptoms, if you're headachy, if you are feeling dizzy, weak, anything, you want to back off that fast. Don't push it. You're going to negate the benefits because every time you fast too long without your body being adapted to it, you spike your cortisol. And cortisol is number 2 in the hierarchy of hormones. So it affects practically everything. And the thing right under cortisol is insulin. So it really affects insulin. Your cortisol goes up, your insulin goes up. Even if you're not doing high carb, it'll just spike, and that'll stop all the benefits you're trying to get from eating this way. So don't do fasting to the point of getting symptoms. If you do, it's fine. If they last, it's fine. As long as you back off, you're lowering your cortisol level again, and you're getting back into balance, right? Exercise regularly to improve your body's insulin response and nutrient utilization. So this is super important because the body only builds up to responding as it needs to food you eat. So if you don't move around a lot, then your body gets kind of complacent and says, well, I only need this much energy anyways. I never go out and walk or run or, exercise. So if you have a sedentary job, then you're kind of taking steps back if you're not also exercising, if you're not getting out there on a daily or at least several times a week basis to do a good walk. And a brisk walk, it doesn't have to be something that, takes you, out for a few days or anything, but, a brisk walk will do fine. And it's all dependent on, where you're at. If you're already, running half marathons or, you have a very physical job, then obviously do at least that, and then maybe some more while you're doing this. So in the beginning, you want to, when you're getting keto adapted and when you're starting your fasting, you want to just do the exercise you normally do, or a little bit more if you're sedentary. And then once you're fat adapted, which is usually around a month into it, then you can start increasing your exercise, and you'll most likely stay in ketosis and get amazing benefits from fasting. By the way, if you do your workouts at the end of your fast, your results are like 10x sometimes. They're greatly increased anyways. And so the best time to do your exercise is just before you're about to break your fast. And because you just exercise, your body's not looking for nutrients. When you break your fast, you're going to get more out of that food. So this can have a compounding positive effect, basically. And then, of course, we all know, get regular sleep, ensure your body is well rested and able to absorb, and use food to repair and improve cellular health. So all these things are somewhat intuitive, but having them in this specific way and eating in a certain way and doing the fasting can really result in a whole different level. Like if you're kind of stuck where you're at and you've been doing something and nothing seems to be changing, that one symptom you've been trying to work on isn't budging, I would bet that it's because something is off in what we just went over. And it can be a very simple fix of doing a program like this for 6 months. You're not saying you have to be low carb that entire time, but you'd be doing a program to get you fat adapted, keto adapted, and then you would be getting amazingly increased levels of benefit from what you're already doing, maybe with no change to what you're doing. That has happened several times now. So that is that. Okay, so these are a couple of testimonials, and if you get the slides, you can read through them more. But this is someone who did the program with me and got some really amazing results. They were already fairly fit, but they lost quite a bit of weight that they hadn't been able to lose before. Like they had reached a plateau, and then they got down to a whole new level. Increased their knowledge about how to do this. That's the other thing. By doing this program, you're going to have something that works for your body that you can then use for the rest of your life. It may change a little as we age or different factors come in, but not that much. Once you know how to get your body into ketosis and how to use fasting to the best benefits, by the way, there are like 10 different ways of fasting, depending on what you want to get out of it. So don't think it's just stopping eating for a little while. There's a lot more to it. You can take this knowledge that you'll get and use it for various things. So another couple testimonials. Both of these people were looking to shed a couple pounds, and they were able to do that, and also had some pretty amazing kind of side effects. The first one here had cholesterol went from 211 to 171 without the need for traditional medication. So that was pretty, wasn't even something that she was working on. It just kind of happened, which was just awesome. All right, so next steps, of course. So I would love to work with you and help you on your keto lifestyle journey. I do a clean keto tailored and optimized to your body type. Everyone has a little bit of a different makeup and digestion compatibility, as we went over. Everyone's microbiome is unique. So some people can tolerate certain fats and can't others. And, just by knowing about you and what works for you, I can sometimes navigate that even before it becomes an issue. And then, of course, we all have different schedules and workloads. So the ketogenic program that we offer includes this customized ketogenic lifestyle, intermittent fasting, and I really use this one a lot for those who want to lose weight. It's called protein sparing modified fasting. It's for metabolic repair, i.e. weight loss. So that's simply you're taking protein and keeping it high and using fat after you're fat adapted to lower your calories to a certain level where you're able to get benefits of fasting and weight loss while still maintaining and increasing your lean body mass. So it's pretty awesome. You do it only, sparingly so that you get the benefits you want and don't overstress the body. And of course, we optimize nutrition and digestive health by doing this, which is a lot of what I just went over, balancing hormones. And of course, there's amazing other benefits to balancing hormones, improved mood, emotional health, feeling better, more happy, having energy when you wake up and throughout the day, no slumps in the afternoon. And of course, rapid weight loss and improved health. So there's a lot of other things that this can do, but those are some of the main highlights that people are usually interested in. So think of our keto coaching program as a personal healthy kickstart for 2022. I know we're getting a little bit into it now, but we're still at the beginning of the year. So if you're interested, I would definitely love to work with you. And that is a wrap. So if anybody had any questions, I know I went over a lot. And again, this will be available, but you could unmute and ask me whatever you want. Or you could put it in the chat box and I can answer it that way as well. But if there's not any questions, that's totally fine. Not putting anybody on the spot here. Okay, I don't see anybody unmuting or pulling up their screen. So I'm going to assume there aren't any immediate questions. Oh, I do see one in the chat here. Oh, yes, that looks delicious. Of course. That's Fabiola, my amazing wife. And yes, it does look delicious. And the ketogenic diet can be extremely amazing. Just like you can really enjoy it if you learn how to do it right and what works for you. So that said, I am going to wrap up here. Again, reach out to us if you want more information or you want these slides. They're meant to be used. Check out the website, nutritionalwellnesscenter.com, or email info@nutritionalwellnesscenter.com. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking some time. And I will be around if you have any questions. All right. Have a great day. Thank you.